Former President Trump is facing a new legal battle. Members of the Central Park Five are now suing the former president over, quote, false and defamatory statements they say that he made about their 1989 case during a presidential debate last month.
At the debate in September in Philadelphia, Kamala Harris had brought up the fact that Donald Trump, just days after the Central Park Five were arrested, this assault in Central Park.
Central Park Five, they admitted, they said, they pled guilty. And I said, well, if they pled guilty, they badly hurt a person, killed a person ultimately. And if they pled guilty, then they pled, we're not guilty.
$83.3 million. That's what Trump was ordered to pay E. Jean Carroll. Now multiply that by 5 for the innocent men of the Central Park case who spent years in prison while Trump continued to smear them as guilty despite DNA evidence proving their innocence. The financial math here is absolutely staggering. Trump's inability to stop defaming people is becoming the most expensive personality flaw in American history. The orange turd is hemorrhaging cash faster than he can scam his supporters into sending more. And this new case could be the biggest hit yet. Before we move on, I'd like to ask you a small favor. If you appreciate this content, please take a second to like this video and subscribe to the channel. Over 98% of you watch the videos without subscribing. It costs you nothing, but it makes a huge difference to us. So did you click the subscribe button? Great. Thank you so much. Now back to the video. Remember when your teacher wouldn't accept your kinda right answers on tests? Well, Trump just learned that lesson the hard way in court. His legal team tried a defense strategy that was about as solid as gas station sushi, arguing that his statements about the Central Park Five were substantially true. I mean, what does that even mean?
So-called exonerated Five have filed a lawsuit against former President Donald Trump. They claim he made defamatory statements about them during his presidential debate last month with Vice President Kamala Harris. All 5 were exonerated and their convictions tossed out back in 2002 when DNA evidence was matched to a different man who did confess to the crime. The exonerated 5, they were teenagers back in 1990 when they were convicted for the rape of a woman who was jogging in Central Park.
Your Honor, my client wasn't lying. He was just being creatively factual. The judge wasn't buying what Trump was selling. In a ruling that probably left Trump's lawyers scrambling for their law school refunds, the judge shut down this close enough defense faster than Trump closes a McDonald's value meal. Turns out, in defamation law, statements need to be actually true, not just true-ish, a concept that seems to baffle our orange former president like basic geography or the proper pronunciation of Yosemite. What's particularly delicious about this legal faceplant is how clearly the judge spelled it out. Defamation law hinges on whether a statement is true or false, not whether it's in the general neighborhood of reality. It's like Trump's team thought they were playing horseshoes, where close counts, when actually they were playing legal chess and just lost their queen. But wait, it gets better.
The Central Park Five now say that he is saying these things as a way to cause distress to them because they were exonerated ultimately. They are all saying now they never pleaded guilty. They were cleared of the wrongdoing. No one was killed in this attack in 1989. And this has been a pattern from Donald Trump dating the whole way back to the aftermath of that attack. They had ultimately settled with New York City after being forced into giving false statements. They had gone to trial.
Trump's legal eagles also tried claiming his statements weren't a matter of public concern, despite the fact he made them during a presidential debate watched by millions of Americans. That's like claiming the Super Bowl is just a casual backyard football game. These statements weren't whispered in a private conversation. They were broadcast to the entire nation while he was attempting to become the most powerful person on the planet. The judge's ruling couldn't have come at a worse time for Trump. During the 2016 campaign, with the world watching, he doubled down on his attacks against these exonerated men, insisting they were guilty despite DNA evidence and a confession from the actual perpetrator. He even falsely claimed they never admitted guilt, when in reality, their confessions were coerced after hours of interrogation without lawyers or parents present. And this defamation case exposes Trump's decades-long obsession with being right even when he's catastrophically wrong. From taking out full-page ads calling for the execution of these men in 1989 to his persistent smears even after their exoneration, Trump has shown a stubborn refusal to admit error that borders on pathological.
Will you apologize to Central Park Five? They've been exonerated, there have been videos and movies shown about the case, and you came out with a full-page ad saying that they should die, that they should have the death penalty.
if you look at Linda Fairstein and if you look at some of the prosecutors, they think that the city should never have settled that case. Why do you bring that question up now? It's an interesting time to bring it up. You have people on both sides of that. They admitted their guilt, so we'll leave it at that.
Trump's obsession with never admitting he's wrong isn't just annoying, it's becoming a financial death spiral that could make his bank account look like a desert. The $83 million he owes E. Jean Carroll might soon seem like chump change compared to what the Central Park 5 lawsuit could cost him. Think about it. We're not talking about one plaintiff here, but 5 men who spent years behind bars while Trump kept insisting they were guilty. These guys weren't just insulted, their entire lives were derailed. They were teenagers when they went to prison, and then had to rebuild everything from scratch after being exonerated. And even then, a certain orange loudmouth kept telling the world they were still guilty. Legal experts are watching this case like hawks, and many believe the damages could make the Carroll judgment look like what Trump leaves as a restaurant tip. The math is pretty simple. If one defamation victim gets $83 million, what happens when you multiply that by 5 people who suffered way more harm? You don't need to be a math genius to see we might be looking at damages that could reach stratospheric level.
When these men were arrested, that he has wanted to intentionally harm them and cause them distress. And one of the plaintiffs, one of the men in the Central Park 5, he was at that debate, essentially blew him off. He wouldn't engage with them. So this lawsuit is a defamation case that they're bringing now to try and say, you know, make us whole, stop intentionally lying, stop intentionally harming us in Philadelphia, and even tried to approach Trump. And they had what he said, or what his attorneys say, was they wanted to have some sort of polite discourse about what Trump had said in the moment on national television about these exonerated men.
While Trump's bank account is in danger of becoming as empty as his promises, his fundraising machine keeps printing money. His supporters keep throwing cash at him like it's going out of style. But here's the kicker. A lot of those MAGA donations aren't funding his campaign anymore. They're paying his growing mountain of legal bills. Those red-hatted supporters might want to read the fine print before sending their next donation, unless they enjoy subsidizing Trump's defamation habits. The irony is thicker than Trump's makeup. A guy who built his entire image on being filthy rich might end up broke because he can't stop his mouth from writing checks his butt can't cash. His whole brand is built on gold toilets and private jets, but legal experts are wondering if he'll have enough liquid cash left to pay these massive judgments. Sure, Trump recently squeezed $15 million out of Disney ABC News over some George Stephanopoulos comments, but that's pocket lint compared to what he might owe the Central Park 5. It's like finding a quarter in your couch while you're being evicted. And let's wrap this thing up. The judge's ruling in this case sends a clear message that even presidential candidates can't just make stuff up about innocent people. What a shocker. This legal victory for the Central Park 5 means Trump might finally face real consequences for his loose lip. After decades of slipping away from accountability like a greased up game show host, the walls are closing in on old Donnie Diapers. His bank account is about to take a hit that even his gold-plated toilet can't flush away. Turns out Trump's kryptonite isn't some deep state conspiracy. It's just his inability to shut his big fat mouth.